All I want to do today is talk a little bit about drills, and let's talk about what's out there, what's good, what's bad, what's worth buying, what's not worth buying, what to look out for, pitfalls and perils of buying tools in the modern age. Let's talk about the difference between lithium ion and nickel cadmium batteries if you are talking cordless tools, and let's talk about cordless tools versus corded tools. I mean, is there even a need still for corded tools? We're going to talk about all these things. So if you're in the market for a drill and you are like a chameleon on a smarty box and you don't know where to go or what to do, then this video might be for you. Now, brace yourself. This is not going to be a 3-minute video because I'm going to spend some time talking about quite a few of my drills. As you can see, I have a decent selection of drills here, mostly because I do teach woodworking classes and I want my students to experience all the drills that are out there, at least have some idea that there's more than one brand out there, and to buy what works for them. Right, disclaimer right up front, all of these drills are mine, and I have paid for them. There is nobody with skin in this game. There's nobody who has paid me to say good or bad things about their drills. In other words, there's nothing here that doesn't belong to me apart from one drill, and it's this one on the end here, the Festool. I borrowed that from the supplier, and I will have a look at it and be critical as hell if I need to be, or as complimentary as hell if I need to be. So that's the only disclaimer. That drill is not mine. I am looking for a drill in that range at some point, but at the moment, as you can see, I think I'm covered. I've pretty much got enough drills. So we're going to get straight into it, and we're going to talk about immediately the difference between corded and cordless drills. Now, a corded drill is a thing like this. So in other words, this is the kind of thing you would see in just about every workshop everywhere. This is my old dusty Ryobi drill. It's got a power cord and it works just fine. Now, why would I buy a corded drill? So if there is ready power where you are and you are going to use your drilling machine all day, every day, and you don't want to stop to recharge things, then a corded drill is fine. If portability isn't really an issue, if you have power where you need to be and or an extension lead and some sort of a power source, then these are perfectly good drills. Yes, the cord can sometimes get in the way, but at least you don't have to worry about your batteries running flat and you have ready power where you need to. Also, having said that, a lot of these corded drills are more powerful. In other words, they have more torque and they can also do more heavy duty work for a longer period of time. Don't get into the headspace that corded drills are old school and you no longer need them, because where we are here in South Africa, our power is not great. So we don't have consistent power delivery from Eskom, which means that sometimes cordless tools are there to save the day rather than be your first choice of drill. So corded drills like this are certainly worth having. Now, these come in different sizes. So if I take this guy here, which is a Bosch drill, this guy is a beast. It's a great big monster drill, and I use this for drilling into concrete, into walls, if I'm doing heavy installations where I need to do lots and lots of hammer drilling, or what they call percussion drills, or a hammer drill, or whatever it is you call this thing that can thump into concrete. Then this is a good option. Relatively easy to use. Yes, they are bulkier and bigger, and certainly one worth having in a case in your arsenal. So I definitely still use this guy. If I'm going to be doing lots of drilling, then this is my go-to for great big concrete jobs. Okay, so you're in the market for a drill, and let's start at the very beginning. Okay, there are 3 questions you have to ask yourself when you go out to buy a drill. You're in the market for a drill, you want to go and get one. These are the 3 questions you have to go and ask yourself. Question number 1 is, do you have a budget? In other words, how much do you want to spend? Because let me warn you right now that you can spend 600 Rand on a drill, and you can spend 6,000 Rand on a drill, and you can spend even more than that if you try. So have a budget in mind. Know what it is you want to spend. That's the first question. Question number 2, what must that drill do for you? What do I want this drill for? Is it daily DIY? Is it occasional weekend warrior stuff? Do you just want to hang a few picture frames and couldn't be asked to get a handyman into your house to drill holes into your wall. Figured I can do it myself, and I may as well score a tool while I'm doing it. Are you a hobbyist? Are you a professional? Are you a contractor? Are you going to use this every single day? Ask yourself, what is this drill got to do for me? What must it do for me? And the third question you've got to ask yourself is, where do I see this going? In other words, let's think now about this hobby, this profession, this obsession, this whatever it is you call your DIY/woodworking journey. Where do you see this going? Okay, let's unpack those three questions in the next few minutes and talk about those slightly more in depth, because you need to understand how the answers to those questions are going to seriously affect your decision-making process. Okay, so let's go all the way back to question number 1. Do you have a budget? Okay, now, some people have to have a budget. Some people have so much money, it doesn't really matter. So to those people, I say, good for you. I wish I were more like you, but the rest of us, we have to think about cash, disposable money, and. So, having said that, you do get bottom-end cheaper drills, and they do limit you in some ways. But if the answer to question 1 is further answered by the answers to question 2, and you are simply just going to be a weekend warrior/occasional user, then there's no need for you to go and overspend on a drill. That's the first thing we have to discuss, is that must I spend a lot of money? Must I spend less money? Now, let's go back to the beginning of my journey, where I was in the place where I was buying tools and I would just buy everything that I saw. In other words, tools became an addiction for me. It got to the point where perhaps I needed to go and sit in a circle, hold hands with people and say things like, "Hi, my name is Alan, I'm a tool addict," and. So I ended up at one point with 19 drills. So here is still some of them, or here are still some of them. And in my mind, these are all different. They all do different things and they have very specific purposes. That's how twisted I am sometimes. But it's important for you to get a grip on what it is you're prepared to spend money on. So lower end drills, are they worth it? Are the high end drills worth it? And what are the differences between those things? So let's unpack that for a second. Let's take a very bottom end drill. Okay, so here, for argument's sake, is a bottom end drill. It wasn't a massively expensive piece of equipment. It's got a battery, it's got a charger, it's a lithium ion battery. It's a what they call a 20 volt drill. I don't know if you should believe this whole 20 volt thing. It's mostly 18 volt. I think this is a bit of marketing fluffiness, if you ask me. But it's a very simple drill. It does what drills do, and it will probably do the job that you need it to do on the weekend. In other words, if you've got to put in a few screws, that'll do it for you. Can it drill into concrete and walls? No, it cannot. It's not meant for that. For that, you need to go sort of one step higher. On the other end of the scale, we have very expensive drills, and those ones can do everything. So you have to ask yourself, if I spend more, will it be worth it? Okay, why would you spend more on a drill? You'd spend more on a drill because you want it to last longer. I have this drill here, which is an exceptionally good drill. It's lasted me for possibly easily 10 years now, and it just won't break. It's a fantastic piece of kit. It's a big, heavy beast of a drill, and it simply won't give up. Now, what are the differences, the main differences between, let's say, this very good one and this bottom of the range sort of cheaper brand? Okay, so what are the big differences between these two drills? Okay, so a drill is basically a very simple machine. It's a thing that when you squeeze the trigger, it turns a motor, and the motor quite simply spins the chuck, which holds onto a drill bit and makes a hole. So it's not a complicated piece of kit. So the thing that sits inside here is called an armature, and it basically is a whole lot of copper wire wrapped around a thing that goes over brushes, and the brushes then connect to that, and the motor spins, and. Okay, so that's the basics of it. Now, this armature unit is sealed. In other words, I can't take this armature out, rewind it, and put it back. It's a sealed unit. So when this drill breaks, basically you throw it away. Here, I can take the armature out of this, and I can rewind it, and I can put it back. So while this one costs a lot more, I can repair it. so I don't have to replace the whole thing. Here, it's basically disposable, throw it away, buy another one. So those are the major differences between expensive drills and good drills. And there are a couple of other features which we'll get into during the course of this video. And it all has to do with things like, does it have brushes? Is it brushless, which is like the new thing? Does it have a good chuck? Does it have a metal chuck? Does it have a 12 or a 13 mil chuck? Some drills only have a 10 mil chuck, so you can't put bigger drill bits into it. And do these drills have a hammer function or a what they call a percussion function, so it can drill into concrete more effectively and what have you. So all of these things are things that you have to think about when you buy a drill. I guarantee you that there is a drill for you within your budget range. What I can't guarantee you is that drill will last forever. So yes, you can buy a cheap drill and it will work. You can buy an expensive drill and it will work. The chances are very good that the expensive drill will last longer. It will take more punishment. It will last longer. It will be able to do more, and it's possibly a better investment. If I'm honest, and I go back to the beginning of my woodworking journey, instead of buying a whole lot of drills, I could possibly just have bought 2 drills, and that would have been sufficient. You don't need more than 2 drills. I, of course, have a problem, so I've got plenty of drills. I also do teach woodworking classes, so I have lots of students, and therefore I need lots of drills. I think work within your budget as far as humanly possible. Try and buy what you can afford. That's number 1. Right, let's unpack question number 2, which is, what must that drill do for you? In other words, what is it that you're buying the drill for? Now, this is where this will start seriously affecting your choice. In other words, here, this is not a budget decision. This is about how practical this drill is. What must it actually do for you? If you just need to put in a few screws for basic woodworking projects, then virtually any drill will do. If you are driving screws into decking all day long because you're a professional decking guy, then a drill/driver is your answer. These cost more and they last longer and they are more powerful machines. They won't fry if you use them all day long. So you need something that's going to be longer lasting. If you are going to be a cabinet maker and you need to get into tight spaces, then things like size matter. In other words, can you use the drill in a small space? Can you rotate the head of your drill? And yes, you get drills like that now, where you can rotate the head and get into a small space. Can you get underneath something? Can you get it above your head? Must the drill be light enough so that you can work above your head all day long? These are things to think about, because let me tell you, if I took this great big beast of a drill and I had this above my head all day long, I think my arms would fall off, because this drill is just too heavy. So that's why I have things like this little drill, which is a fantastic little drill. He's lightweight, he works well, he's powerful enough, and I can hold him above my head a hell of a lot longer than I can hold this guy above my head. So you've got to think about what the drill must do for you. Must it drill into concrete occasionally? Is it just for drilling into wood? Is it just for drilling, or is it also for drilling and for driving screws? Do I need to have a torque adjustable function on it? Must I be able to change the angle at which I'm drilling? And all of those things. So these are the questions you have to ask yourself. If you've got the answers to those questions, your choices become a lot more evident. You may not like to hear the answer, because you may feel that now, if you want a specific kind of a thing, that you have to invest a bit more money. Let me tell you right up front, it's worth it. This is where you just spend a little bit more money, because there's nothing worse than having 6 drills and none of them do the job that you need it to do. Rather spend a bit more money, buy one drill that does all of that, and you'll be better off. Okay, so I hope that unpacks question number 2 a little bit more. And then question number 3, we've got to think about, where's this going to go? And the reason why we have to think about this is because some of these drill options are part of a platform. In other words, when we talk about a platform, we're talking about one set that has interchangeable batteries, and in other words, tools that use the same batteries and the same chargers. So for argument's sake, My Makita Driver here is part of a platform where I use this same battery for my air blower, for my battery-powered router, for my battery-powered circular saw, for my battery-powered drill, for my battery-powered and. So these are all interchangeable. It's the one platform power. In other words, one battery, one charger, or you can have a couple of batteries and you can have many different tools that work with it, grinders, polishers, what have you. Okay, so think about that, because it actually is worth it to develop a platform of, especially when we're talking battery tools. It makes a great deal of sense. You've got one manufacturer to deal with. You've got one set of guarantees to deal with. So if your tool breaks, you know where to take it. You go back to the person you bought it from, or you can send it for repairs at the agents, and hopefully they're in your country and available. It makes more sense because you don't have to keep buying things. Now, as you can see, here I have all the chargers that I need to run all of these drills, and you can see that there are as many chargers as what there are drills, which is kind of insane if you consider that I have possibly 15 or 16 different chargers here. Having one platform allows you to have multiple tools with a smaller number of batteries and certainly one or two chargers, and that's it. So if where your hobby is going to take you is that you think that in the future you're going to buy more tools, and you're going to buy tools that are the same as your brand because you have a platform, then consider buying something that is a multiple platform tool. So again, this is the Ryobi, and it's a great little tool. It uses the same battery as my battery spray gun, uses the same battery as my battery polisher, uses the same battery as my battery whatever. So one platform, lots of tools, and you can upgrade your tool collection much more cost effectively because you're just buying the machine and you've already got the battery and the charger. That about covers the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself about what drills to buy. Now let's get into talking specifically about the features you need to look for in drills. In other words, let's assume for the purposes of this video that you are a woodworker like me. You're not a professional, but you do want to buy quality. You do want to have something that's going to work for you in the longer term. You're open to the idea of a single platform, but what are the things for you to look out for? What features must you ask the salesperson about? In other words, where are the areas on the drill that I need to focus on in terms of making the right decision for me? Okay, so let's begin with the anatomy of, let's talk about batteries for a second. Okay, what is this whole deal with lithium ion? What is lithium ion, and what is the difference between lithium ion and something like a NiCad battery? What is lithium ion? What is NiCad? What are these things? Right. Okay. So older technology, nickel cadmium batteries, or they're called NiCad batteries. These batteries they're bulkier. They take longer to charge. They do last quite long, but they go from 100% power to 90 to 80 to 70, 60, 54 until eventually they're flat. As the power decreases in the battery, so too does the power in the actual drill. In other words, it doesn't work at optimal torque or optimal speed. As the battery depletes, it actually does run slower, as opposed to lithium ion batteries, which basically run at full speed and at full strength until they simply just don't run anymore. In other words, they don't really diminish in power. In other words, they run at 100% until they stop. They charge a lot faster. They are much more readily available. Nowadays, everything is lithium ion. It's better technology. The downside is that lithium ion batteries are actually quite expensive. So most of the lithium ion things that are out there do cost more. You can still buy nickel cadmium batteries or NiCad batteries. And again, yes, it's cheaper. You can revive these batteries. You can kickstart them, and that's another video in itself. But there are ways that you can revive one of these batteries to make them work like they used to. Okay, so that's just the whole thing with batteries. Let's talk about brushes versus brushless. Now, on a lot of the new tools that you'll see on the market, you're going to see words like brushless. Okay, what does that mean? It means that the motor itself doesn't have little brass brushes on the side that come into contact with the armature in order to make the whole thing work. Now, brushes obviously wear out over time and they need to be replaced. So even on my big drill, occasionally, in fact twice now over the last 10 or 12 years, I've had to replace the brushes. I mean, that's the only expense I've ever had to incur using this drill. So you got to replace the brushes. And brushes are like anything, where the manufacturer will use good quality brushes for the high-end stuff, and they'll use smaller, less good quality brushes for the bottom of the end range. So that's just about brushes. Brushless is the way to go. It's more energy efficient. Your battery tends to labor less and work harder, and it tends to last longer. So if you can afford brushless, that's the way I would recommend you go. Let's talk about the size of the chuck. Now, what is the chuck? The chuck is this thing, the part of the drill into which you're going to insert either your bit or your drill driver or your attachment into which you put your various driver heads and what have you. So these chucks come in various sizes, and some chucks can have a 10 mil aperture. In other words, if you open it up to its fullest, you can put in a 10 mil bit. Some chucks are 12 mils, and I would say the very good ones are 13 mil chucks. So if you can put in a 13 mil chuck into your drill, it means it's got a slightly bigger range, and you can use bigger drill bits. You will find that your 13 mil chucks belong on your slightly bigger drills. And those drills that are more powerful, drills that cost a little bit more and are more versatile. Okay, so if you can, see if you can get yourself a nice 13 mil chuck. Then also try and see if you can get yourself a drill that actually has a metal chuck. Here is a low-end drill. It's got a plastic chuck. The chances are that this is not nearly as good a quality chuck as the other one, but it'll do its job. Okay, so it's just there to hold it. Okay, right, so plastic chuck versus metal chuck. Obviously, if you can, go for a metal chuck. Gears and speed, let's talk about that. When you are buying a drill, one of the things you need to look for is, does it have a variable, I suppose it's called a clutch, a torque setting that changes the torque, and you can either have full grip or you can have your clutch, if you like, slip more so that you can adjust the torque of the drill itself, which means that you don't over torque a screw or drill it in too far or too fast or too hard into wood, thereby stripping the screw head, which is an unbelievable pain in the backside. So you don't want to go there. Have a look at the drills that have the adjustable torque settings. Those are sometimes better than the ones that don't. Now, if you are looking at a drill and it doesn't have a torque setting, then the chances are very good you are looking at what we call a driver. Now, what is the difference between a drill and a driver? Here is a drill that is a hammer drill / percussion drill. It is a driver, and it is also a drill, and it's also a driver. So this is three functions. This has only one function. This is only a driver. This thing's function in the world is to beat screws into wood. It's an incredibly powerful tool. It basically is only a hammer drill. It doesn't have torque settings. It's got one torque setting, and that's seriously powerful. Okay, but if you're just going to drive screws all day long and you're not going to want to drill holes, then this is the drill for you. It's incredibly light, very, very, very powerful, and will smash a screw into wood much faster and with much less hassle and far less work than even something like this. I always say to people, if you have the luxury of buying two drills, then buy one that is a drill driver combination and then one that is a pure just a driver. And you will find that for the right application, these are fantastic. So definitely worth looking into. That about covers the third question in terms of platforms and all that sort of stuff. Think about where your drill is going to take you and what it is you need from it. If you have questions about this, then drop them in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. Okay, there are loads of questions that I'm sure will be unanswered at the end of this video. But I do want to just cover those basics. And now we're going to do a drill by drill, I suppose, evaluation of these drills. What's good about them? What's bad about them? Again, remember, all of these drills belong to me. No one is paying me one way or another to say anything. I will be brutally honest, tell you what I think of the drill, why I bought it, am I sorry that I did, do I use it, don't I use it, and the good and the bad and the ugly. So we'll get into each drill. We'll discuss very briefly the charging setup. We'll discuss what accessories it comes with, why I have it, and we'll discuss whether or not I think it's a worthwhile drill to buy as a first purchase. And I'm speaking mostly to those people who are in the market for a drill as a first purchase. Obviously, there are professionals out there who have brands that they love or relationships with certain suppliers that they cherish and value, and or have years of experience with a certain brand and won't swap and change, what have you. What I have learnt lately, and this has only really become prevalent in the last couple of years, and maybe it's because of this whole COVID madness, the world reset or something, but like people have started looking elsewhere. And it's not just based on price. It's based on, can I get available parts? Can I get service? Where are the agents for these drills? Things like that that you really need to think about. In other words, is this drill going to be a tool that I can use without having to worry about it? Or is it going to be a pain in the backside if it breaks? In other words, am I just going to have to throw it away and buy another drill? Because that has happened. It's happened to me, and quite recently too. So we're going to start down one end of this table. We're going to work our way along. I'm going to talk about the drill, why it's good, why it's bad, what it is, and we'll talk about a sort of an approximate price point. And that will be in rands, because this is where we are. We're in South Africa. We're in Durban. You guys can do the conversions in your own head. If you're from the UK, then these drills are all cheap because the exchange rate certainly makes it much more in your favor to have pounds. And of course, same with the US dollars, what have you. I'm just going to talk in rand terms because that's my metric, that's my yardstick, and we're going to work our way down here and have a look. Okay, so now we're going to come in closer. We're going to look at these drills in more detail. I'm going to talk about each one. Stay with me. It's for your good, not for mine. I already know all this stuff. You guys are learning this for the first time, so don't go away. I'll tell you what, here's what we're going to do. Go and get yourself a cold beer, make yourself a cup of tea, whatever it is. Come back, we'll smash through these drills and we'll talk about them all in more detail. Right, first up is possibly one of my favorite little drills. And I say little because it's not a big guy. He is a 12 volt. In fact, he's not even a 12 volt. He's a 10.8 volt Dewalt Driver. So he is not a drill. This is just for driving screws. I use this drill every single day in my woodworking business. It hasn't ever broken or failed. Yes, it's been dropped plenty. What is amazing about this is, of course, it's got the hex connection. So it's quick release, nice and easy to use. It's got a torque setting. It has 2 batteries. It has 1 charger. These batteries don't last very, very long. They're 1 amp hour batteries, but they charge so quickly that whilst you are charging one, you can be using the other and then just rotate. So this drill is fantastic for driving screws, small woodworking projects, working in little spaces, and working above your head. So would I buy it again? Absolutely. Is it worth it? Definitely. There is a more modern version of this that is a brushless motor. I would recommend you look at that, which is probably even more efficient in terms of battery use. But certainly this drill is a real favorite amongst students here. Also one of my favorite drills to use, and I would definitely look into getting something like this as a everyday screw driving machine. It's not a drill. It's definitely a screw driving driver. Okay. In terms of power, it's plenty powerful enough. You know, the thing is, you don't need mad power to drive in a screw. You really don't. If you're smart enough to know that you should be pre-drilling most of your holes anyway, and that you should be using a countersink bit and or a pre-drill bit and a countersink bit combo, whatever it is, then you don't need an unbelievably powerful drill. So this one, out of 10, I would rate this one absolutely 10 out of 10. This is an fantastic machine. Okay, so this gets a full 10 out of 10 rating for me. and I would highly recommend you look into something like this. Next up, we have a Triton Driver. Okay, so this also is a driver. It's made by Triton. In fact, I have two of these. They're great machines. And the reason I got two of these was, I don't know, I got a deal or something. So I've just managed to get two. But they are great. They have a 1 amp hour battery. Again, the hex connection, nice and simple to use. Plenty power, plenty driving power, has lots of torque for driving in screws. I love these because they're light, they're easy to use. I use these not only for putting in screws, I do a lot of work with pocket holes. I do all my drawers, etc. with pocket holes, and this is perfect for using with a pocket hole jig for driving in screws that doesn't over torque the screw. It works just like any good driver should, in that the speed of the unit is controlled by how hard you squeeze the trigger. So it can go very slowly or nice and quickly depending on how hard you squeeze the trigger. So again, great piece of kit, easy to use, light, has a decent battery life. These have lasted well. As you can see, they're both quite beaten up, but they both still work. And I would recommend these on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say this is a solid 8. Definitely worth the purchase, good value for money, and you know, the agents are still in South Africa. You can still have them repaired, you can still have them replaced, and you can get parts. So these guys, I would say, not a bad option, quite worth it. Right, this is the drill that's not for everybody, but it is an absolute beast. So I've had this drill for easily 10 years, maybe more. It's a Dewalt. It is a 3-speed. It's got 3 speed settings. It has a hammer drill function. It has a drill function, and it has a driving function. It has the usual torque settings. It has a metal chuck. It is a 13mm metal chuck. It is a monster. Its battery lasts very, very well. It has a couple of, this is a 4 amp hour battery. I think this is also a 4 amp hour battery. Comes with a charger and 2 batteries. I would say this is virtually an industrial machine. I mean, this takes huge abuse in my workshop. I do a lot of my drilling into people's walls if I'm doing installations with this drill. It hasn't failed me. Yes, I've had to replace the brushes, but you would expect that after 10 years of use that you would have to replace the brushes. I know these are now brushless, so again, definitely worthwhile. Would I buy one again? Possibly not. I think that the power difference between something this big and some of the smaller drills that are on the market right now isn't significant enough to warrant the expenditure. This is an expensive piece of kit, and it's also very heavy. This is by far my heaviest drill. It's an absolute beast to lug around. Yes, it is powerful, and I do use it every day, but I wouldn't be able to work above my head with this all day long because it's simply just too heavy. But as far as indestructible drills go, this one is definitely one of those. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a rating of 9, only because it is so heavy. But it's been indestructible. It's a really good piece of kit. And if you are a more serious woodworker and or somebody who is a professional or a contractor and you're looking for something that simply won't break, then something like this is a great option. Not the cheapest, not the lightest, but it's an absolute soldier. This drill will do the job. Stanley, as you may or may not know, is part of the Dewalt group. So Dewalt owns both Stanley and Black & Decker. Their production facilities are shared. Some of the components in this drill are actually made in the same place as some of the components in a Dewalt drill. This is a very good value for money drill option. In other words, Stanley have managed to do something quite good with their power tools, and I'm of the opinion that they've really thought it through. So this is a decent quality drill. It has a good metal chuck. It's got a 13mm chuck, 2 speeds. It has the variable clutch, in other words, the torque settings, forwards and backwards. It comes with 2 batteries. It has a battery indicator to tell you how much battery life you have left. As you can see, this drill has also been beaten up and it's still going strong. The battery life on this is very, very good. It is lighter than the Dewalt, which is why I'm using it quite a lot. And as terms of value for money or bang for buck goes, this one is most likely one of the best on the market. It's an incredibly good value for money drill, given the fact that it's about half the price now, slightly less than half the price of the big Dewalt. The power difference isn't significant enough that I think that the Dewalt is way more worth it. So to me, on a value for money sort of scale, this one is definitely one to look into. This is what I would call a semi-professional, serious hobbyist kind of a drill. And I would highly recommend it. Again, at least 9 out of 10 in terms of what I would recommend. So definitely worth looking at. Next up, we have this guy. This is called a Worx Drill. It is a drill driver also with a hammer drill function. It's got 2 speeds. It has 2 amp hour batteries. And it's not a bad drill. It's actually quite a good drill. But this is where I got caught out, is I bought one of these. The chuck froze onto a drill bit. I tried to get it out, had it taken for repair, and guess what? The agents for this no longer bring this into South Africa, and I can't get parts for it. So that was a valuable lesson to learn, because I bought a drill that I spent good money on, and as soon as I needed to have it repaired, I couldn't, because the agents are no longer in my country and I can't get spares, and I also can't get a replacement drill. The warranty is no longer honored by the agents, which is a 3-year warranty, which made me buy it in the first place, and now, of course, it is not available. So heads up, if you are buying a drill, and it doesn't necessarily only apply to this brand, but if you're buying a drill, make sure that you know that you can get parts in the long term. So your brands like Dewalt, Stanley, Black & Decker, Ryobi, Hilti, and those are the guys that are still available in my country. These new brands, as nice as they are, and believe me, it broke my heart, because this is a fantastic drill. It's a really, really nice piece of kit. It's light enough. It's powerful enough. It does everything it needs to do. It's got a great big 13mm chuck. It's got a metal chuck. It has loads of power. It's a pleasure to use. The downside is I know that when this drill breaks, I'm going to have to throw it away, because I won't be able to repair it in South Africa. So I have to give it a 5 out of 10 only because of that. If this was still available in South Africa and I could get parts, this would be a great drill, at least an 8 or 9 out of 10. It ticks every single box, apart from the fact that if it breaks, you basically have to throw it away. If you have one and it still works, good for you. I still use this often. It works fantastically well. I'm just holding my breath that it never breaks, because when it does, I have to chuck it out. Okay. This little drill is a surprise. It was a surprise from the minute I bought it. I bought it on special at a retailer. I saw them going there and I thought, well, that's a great price. Let me get one just in case, because, you know, I have this tool problem. It came in a little case. It had a spare battery. It had a charger that looks like this. It has 2 batteries. It's got loads of power. It came with a whole lot of different accessories. It came with drill bits. It came with some driver bits, all in this little handy carry case. And again, bang for buck, this is a great machine. It's light, it's got plenty power for your daily use. It even has a hammer drill function, which for a drill this size is quite surprising. So I can drill into concrete with this if I needed to. I'm sure I couldn't do it all day long every single day, but it has that function. So if you are a weekend warrior, beginner woodworker, and or a lady who doesn't want to schlep around a great big drill, and I'm not being sexist by saying that ladies are weaker, it's just that I have plenty female students in my classes, and girl woodworkers tend to want to use drills that they feel comfortable with, and most of my lady students prefer this drill because it is comfortable for them to use. So take it as you wish. But all I'm saying is that this one, bang for buck, is a great purchase. It's not expensive. It's good value. Bosch as a brand is a great brand. They understand DIY power tools. They don't make this inaccessible from a price point of view, availability point of view. It's a really, really good deal. This one, solid 9 out of 10. Makita. This is a Makita Driver. Now, this is part of what we refer to as a platform that I have. So I have the charger, I have several of these batteries, and I have several Makita tools that use these batteries and this platform. So this one was a no-brainer purchase for me because I needed a good, powerful driver. And this is, if nothing else, one hell of a good, very powerful driver. So it has unbelievable power. In fact, I sometimes find myself warning people when they use this for the first time that this is the one drill that is capable of injuring you if you don't hold on to it. In other words, it has that much torque that if your screw suddenly stops, or whatever it is you're driving suddenly stops, it can actually tweak your wrist. So you need to be aware of how powerful this drill is. And I don't say that lightly because these drills are unbelievably powerful. So I use it for driving in nails into hardwoods. It makes driving nails screws rather, a lot easier. And I do think that it is a worthwhile purchase, especially because it's part of a platform. In terms of practicality, this drill, for its function, is a solid 10 out of 10. It's a magnificent piece of kit. But as an average, because of what it only really does, it's limited in terms of a driver. It's just a driver, albeit a very powerful one. I wouldn't recommend this to first-time buyers as your drill driver or only driver option. From that point of view, I would give this a 7 out of 10 to your first-time drill buyer. As a professional decking guy, it's a 10 out of 10. So this one's rating is dependent upon you as a user, what it is you need. But great piece of kit. These are available also now as brushless units, so they're very, very efficient. They tend to last for a long time. This one has been beaten up and is still going strong. So, great piece of kit. I highly recommend it, especially as part of a platform. If you're a car guy, and if I say to you, this is the Ferrari of drills, you'll know what I'm saying. This is far and away my favorite drill. Out of all the drills that I have, and I have a good many of them, this is my favorite. It packs a mean punch for a little drill. It's a 12-volt drill. Hilti have absolutely cracked the recipe for a versatile drilling machine here. They have made something that is light, that is disproportionately powerful, is easy to use. It has a charger. It comes with 2 batteries. No, it comes with 1 battery. You have to buy extra batteries. This is not the cheapest of drills. I think I paid in the region of about 6,000 Rand for this one. But I cannot emphasize enough how good a deal that was. This is a phenomenal piece of equipment. It also comes with a couple of interchangeable heads that you can use for different functions. So this one, of course, goes around corners if I want to drill at an angle or flat or want to get into a small space. So this will do that. This has an offset drill holder. So if I need to get right up into a corner, I can do that. And of course, here is my quick release hex chuck for using hex bits as well. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 interchangeable heads that pop right off. They pop right back on, and they are unbelievably good. So it's got 2 speeds. This, however, is not a hammer drill. It doesn't drill into concrete. It's not meant for that. This is a drill driver combination only. But as far as quality, user friendliness, versatility, bang for buck, all of those things go, if I could give something an 11 out of 10, this would be it. This is absolutely the best drill that I own, no questions. All right then, so this is a Ryobi relatively bottom of the range cordless drill set. Again, this is part of a platform. So I have the charger and several batteries, and those batteries fit several other tools that are part of this range. So I have a polisher, I have a spray gun, I have 1 or 2 other tools, a blower and that work with this system. Okay, so as far as quality goes, you may or may not have seen in this video earlier on where the first one we went to go and get in the store actually didn't even work. So we had to return it, go and get another one. This is the second one. Seems to work just fine. Again, this is not a particularly high quality tool. It has a plastic chuck, so not great. In fact, And you can see it's got a very small little chuck hole. I think it's only 10 mils. I'll check. But if I hold this, you'll see that it wobbles. So my chuck itself is not actually 100% straight. So you can see my hand wobbling as I do that, which means that the quality of this machine isn't fantastic. It's going to do the basics, okay. If you are a low sort of a budget conscious consumer and you just want a drill that will do the job, this may do it. Again, it doesn't have a hammer function. It is just a drill and a driver. So it has a clutch and you can use that to adjust your torque settings. It's got 2 speeds, just like most other drills. It's got forward and backwards. And yes, it will do a perfectly adequate drilling job. Quality, not great. Value is quite decent. I mean, it's not an expensive drill. I wouldn't rush out and buy another one. This was an experiment in sort of seeing how much things can cost. But yeah, this drill, it's about a 4 out of 10 on my scale. Okay, so you know what this is? This is a whole lot of tools all in one. It's made by Black & Decker, again, part of the Dewalt family, along with Stanley. And this piece of equipment is called the Multivo by Black & Decker. Now, why is this such an amazing piece of kit? Yes, it is a drill. It is an 18-volt drill. It has some torque settings, and this is just a drill. It's not a drill driver, because the best part about this tool is that it is super, super versatile. Let me explain. I can remove now my drilling head, and I can put in a jigsaw, and it's quick change stuff. It doesn't take a lot. Clip that in, and I have a jigsaw. Then I can remove this, and I can put on a circular saw attachment. So that gives me a very good portable circular saw. I also have a sanding head. I have a reciprocating saw head. I have a router head, which also just goes onto this. And I also have a really handy little pump that I can use to inflate things. So this is more than just a drill, but it's part of my weaponry or arsenal, if you like, because this is it all lives in one case, and I take this to site or I leave it in the van or the truck, and if I need a tool, the chances are one of these will do the trick. So it's a great entry-level option for people who are looking for a platform that they can build on to accumulate several different tools. Now, none of these tools are industrial. None of these tools are going to be the kind of quality that you could use all day long, every single day. These are DIY tools and DIY attachments. But for the weekend warrior, the average woodworker, and dare I say it, even for myself, I use these quite often on site and what have you. And this has saved my backside more than once. So deceptively good quality for something that you would expect to be low end. This is not an expensive piece of equipment. None of these attachments are hugely expensive. They're all beneath R1,000, I think. Some of them are less than half of that. The drill itself, the beginning or the starter kit, is not debilitatively expensive. This does come in both lithium ion and corded options. I would say, in terms of a beginner set of tools and even just the drill, this is a fantastic option. This gets a solid 9 out of 10 only because of its versatility. That 9 isn't necessarily based on long-term quality or usage, but just sheer bang for buck, value for money, and versatility. This is a solid 9 out of 10. I highly recommend, if you are looking to collect tools quickly, this is a great option for you. Now, here's a brand that people don't see every day. This is a brand called Metabo. It is an incredibly high quality tool. This is one of those tools that you don't see a lot because they are quite high end, they are quite costly. People tend to shy away from them because they are pricey. But in terms of a quality tool, the quality of this machine is 10 out of 10. It is a very good, very powerful machine. These are industrial quality tools. They will work all day long, every day, and they don't break. So again, it has a nice big chuck. It's got 2 speeds. It has a hammer drill function. It comes with a charger and 2 batteries. I think that this is possibly my second or third best drill that I have in the workshop. It comes with all kinds of drill accessories and parts in a beautiful carry case with bits and pieces in it. But the machine itself is great in that it is a good weight. It is not too heavy. It's easy to use. It has loads of power. It has all your settings for drilling, driving, and a hammer function. So this is going to last for a very long time. I've already taken this to site many times. I've abused it. We have dropped it. We have done all of those things to it, and it still works absolutely beautifully. This is a highly recommended option. Not at the cheap low end, absolutely not. But for those people that are serious about buying one quality tool, this may well be your option. So quality, 10 out of 10. Price, well, it's about an 8 out of 10 for price because it's not cheap. But if you don't mind paying for quality, this is a fantastic option. This would be one of the 2 drills that I would own if I could only own 2 drills. Every now and again, you're going to go into a store and see a brand that you don't recognize. You're going to see something new and you're going to go, is this or is this not a good thing? So that's what happened to me when I saw this brand for the first time. Incco, I don't know it. I bought this very recently, so I've only just used it to try and see if it works. I don't expect that this is a super high quality machine. I think this is a brand that I don't know, but I can say that it feels like a relatively solid drill. It seems to have decent power. The chuck runs true. It doesn't wobble like the other cheap drill that I have. It has the 2 speeds. It has a drill and a driver function. It doesn't have a hammer drill function. This is at the lower end of the price range, so it may be good value. It may not be, and the jury is still out in terms of this drill. It seems to feel like a decent quality machine, and the salesperson who sold it to me said that he thought it was good value for money. Now, I didn't pay a lot of money for this, but I did decide to give it a try, and I will report back if this changes or I think that this is a piece of rubbish. It feels decent. It looks like it's an okay value for money purchase. It seems to have the 2 batteries and a charger, and it feels like an okay thing. It has a plastic chuck, so not a metal one. That's okay. It runs true. It feels powerful. It feels relatively light, and it feels good in my hand. So I'm going to give this, for the time being, I'm going to give this a benefit for the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say in terms of value, 8 out of 10. In terms of quality, at this stage, a 5 or a 6. Let's see how it holds up. But again, you know, it's not a brand that we know or recognize here in South Africa. It's not something that I've seen plenty of. There is a wide range of tools that have this name. I'm assuming they know what they're doing. And let's just see how it holds up. But again, for the weekend warrior or for the amateur woodworker or for somebody who is just going to need an occasional drill in your toolbox at home or in your garage, maybe this is an option. I'm not one of those people who say to you that you absolutely have to buy a well-known brand, otherwise you're buying rubbish. I've been surprised before, and I may well be surprised by the quality of this one. So let's see how it holds up. But in the interim, nice feel, decent weight, seems to run true. Let's see how it holds up. Now, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would buy a Festool drill. I would buy a Festool everything. And I'm going to be honest with you, this drill doesn't belong to me, not because I've just never had one. Wouldn't mind owning one, but you know I already own plenty other drills. However, this one is definitely worth telling you about. So Festool, as you know, manufacture the highest quality power tools for woodworking in the world, I would say. The technology that goes into the development of these tools is unbelievable. The quality is fantastic. The build quality is crazy. The versatility and the features on these drills are next level. Full disclosure, this is not mine. I've borrowed this for the purpose of this shoot. I'm strongly considering not giving it back. But I'm going to take you through the features of this drill. This is for the serious woodworker. And when I say serious, I mean uppercase serious. These are not cheap pieces of equipment. This is for the serious contractor, the serious woodworker, and people who have serious money to throw at a serious piece of equipment. But having said that, it's definitely a good piece of equipment. This is 11 out of 10 quality. It is a really clever piece of a kit. And I'm going to show you some of the features that make this thing as special as what it is. Firstly, obviously, like all things Festool, it comes in a great big, strong carry case. That's not unusual. Plenty drills come in carry cases, but this is part of what they call their sustainer system. So it just stacks upon all the other pieces of Festool equipment that you have. Now, I do have 7 or 8 other pieces of Festool equipment. I don't have a Festool drill. So the temptation for me to simply buy this one is huge. I would love to own it. I'm going to show you the drill first, then we're going to look at what you get with it. So it comes with a really good big lithium ion battery. This is a 5.2 amp hour battery, so it's got a decent battery life. Obviously it has a reader that tells you how much battery life you have. It has a work light. Our torque settings, instead of being along the top here like most other drills, our torque settings are at the back here. There is a dial here that changes the torque setting, which is something I've never seen before. And this is, I suppose, the coup de grace. This is what they call a quad drive. So if you look at the top of this drill, you're able to change the speed of the head by using any of those 4 areas. I don't know if it was necessary, but it's really cool. It's basically got 4 speeds, and it's got a very interesting way to change that. Okay, so that is cool. I like that about this thing. It has the drill, and this is a percussion drill. So this is a hammer drill. So obviously the light comes on when you want it to, but it has normal drilling and a percussion drill feature with the torque setting at the back here. So that is really fantastic. But this, of course, as all things Festool, gets better. Right. If you open the box, what you're going to get is a spare battery. You're going to get the charger. You're going to get a very serious looking heavy duty handle, and that's for using your percussion drill to drill walls, etc. Much like the Hilti, it comes with several different attachments, and this is where this drill is extremely clever. So if I can take out, it has a normal 13mm chuck, it has a quick release hex chuck, and it has a rotating chuck that can go sideways. In other words, if I need to get into tight spaces, this will do that. This is how clever this is. So this goes onto your drill, simply put it on, and you can lock it on with a simple turn. And instead of having to pull out a ring and swivel this thing, I simply can turn this ring and it clicks into place. And it's all on a ratchet spring system, and I can move this into position. It snaps there, and I can use it like that. So that is just next level design, next level cleverness and convenience and all of that sort of stuff. So I think these guys have absolutely nailed it. Sit down before I tell you the price. It's not a cheap piece of equipment, but I wouldn't expect anything less from Festool. These guys are getting it right, and they are making heirloom quality tools. So again, if we just pop this on, there is my normal drill chuck that has a 13mm metal chuck. It's fantastic. If I remove that and I put on my, quick release hex chuck, there it is. So I can't fault this drill at all. The battery is quite a big solid battery, but I wouldn't expect anything less from something that is essentially a percussion drill. This whole package is absolutely brilliant. So if you are looking for something that is next level quality with really clever design, backed up by some very serious R&D, and it is the quality is off the charts. The performance of this drill is top of the pops. This is an 11 out of 10 drill. It is unbelievably good. Not the cheapest drill in the market by a long shot. However, I think you're getting great value for what you're paying. So if you're in the market for a serious drill and you are looking to be on this platform, now I do have several cordless and corded Festool tools. I think that this is definitely worthwhile. So in my view, this is the one drill that may well do it all. It has a smaller brother. It has various smaller versions of this drill. But this particular thing, and I've only just been playing with this for a little while because, as I said before, this isn't mine as much as what I wish it was. I am nothing but impressed with this drill. It is something very, very special. So if you're the serious type and you are running a professional business and you want your tools to never let you down, and you want versatility, and you want all of the things that go along with paying for quality, then this is your guy. I absolutely would recommend it, only because I desperately want one. And I think that if you were like me and you had all these other drills, and you would probably give up most of them just to own this one. Fantastic piece of kit, absolutely worthwhile, I think. Not cheap, but next level quality. Definitely an investment. And I don't often refer to tools as investments. This one, I would say, is an investment tool. So definitely worth the money. That about wraps up our drill comparison. Now, yes, there's a lot of information here. These are my opinions. They are based on my experience with my tools. This is the only tool that I don't own. All the rest are mine that I paid for with my money. This one is on loan. However, I can say hand on heart that I don't have any real regrets about any of the drills that I've bought. Some of them are still too new to call, so we'll see how they pan out. My tools get used, they get abused. I use them for classes, I use them on site, and I use them in my workshop. I feel like I'm qualified enough to talk sense about drills. So if you disagree with anything I'm saying, or you have better information than me, by all means, please drop a comment in the section below, and I would love to enter into debate with you. If you're a manufacturer and I've hurt your feelings, well, tough. Either lift your game or keep doing what you're doing if I've said something good about you. So, we're in a world where there's plenty of competition. As you can see, there are many drill brands out there, there are tool brands out there, and people are getting more careful with their money. They need to know that what they're buying is right for them. We don't need to know you're buying the best drill in the world. You just need to know you're buying the best drill for the money that you're prepared to spend, for the task that you're prepared to do, and for the future that you hope to have with your tools. If there are drills out there that I didn't cover, and most certainly there are hundreds of brands of drills out there that I haven't looked at. I know one of them is Milwaukee. They're not readily available where I am. I would love to get my hands on a Milwaukee tool to have a look. I believe they're fantastic. I'd love to see if they live up to the hype. If you have other brands out there that you have questions about, I'll do some digging and see what I can find out. If you have a comment or you have any other information that you believe is valuable to the kind of people who are watching a video like this, then please share. Put it in the comment section below and we will disseminate. We will share it with whoever is watching this video. So again, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something cool. We'll see you back here for more tool reviews. So stick around. We're just getting started, but I promise you there's a lot of cool stuff to come. There's a lot of good things that we're going to be doing on this channel. So stick around, subscribe, all of those lekker things, and we'll see you guys soon.